Israel.
Joining us now, chairperson for the Jewish Democratic Council of America and former Democratic Congressman from Florida, Ron Klein. We'll start with what the president said yesterday and today. What do you make of it?
Well, I think it's reckless and disgusting, and it just plays into the continuation of inciting hatred and violence. And as a matter of fact, as we see day to day, as there are more and more copycats or people that are threatening mass shootings in this country. One was another one threatened against the JCC, a Jewish community center in Youngstown. His language matters. When the President of the United States speaks, people listen. Unfortunately, there are people out there that take up his words and take action. The result of all this is that the Jewish community is far less safe today than it was a few years ago.
What are your thoughts, or I should say, the members of your council, what have they said to you about what these two congresswomen have said?
Well, we don't agree with the congressman. We think that they're wrong. We will not support them if they continue down that path. Our organization supports Democrats who support the state of Israel, which all of us do. It doesn't mean you have to agree with every single thing the government of Israel does, every policy, but we understand the importance of the strategic relationship between Israel and the United States. But more or equally important, I would say, is the Jewish community in the United States, the values, and the reason that 75% approximately vote Democrat and that 32 out of 34 members of Congress that are Jewish are Democrats. That's no coincidence. It's because the Democratic Party the key to all the other things that the community cares about, such as a reasonable immigration. We know what immigration means. It's our history of having the access to this country. A reasonable environmental policy, fight against anti-Semitism. Those kinds of things are important to us, and that's why they vote Democrat.
So who's this message for? The president's message about Democrats, Jews shouldn't support Democrats, and it's just like, who's that? Who's the audience? Is there any Jewish person in America who's saying, wow, maybe I'm disloyal for being a Democrat? Or is this for somebody else? What happens when the president says something like this?
Well, I think, listen, there's a portion of the community. The community obviously has lots of different opinions on different things, which is perfectly fine. It's like any other community in the United States. And a portion of them, maybe a quarter of them, vote Republican. And I'm sure this is to reinforce their votes that they should show up, just like he does other base groups for him. He wants to make sure they show up in an election. But he certainly is offending the other three-quarters of the Jewish community by the way he talks and the way he threatens and the way he's so irresponsible with the way he talks about the Jewish community and the expectations of him saying certain things that are causing problems around the world, for that matter, and in Israel as well.
Have you met with the two congresswomen over the last few months? You said you disagree with some of their positions and what they've said. Given that the president takes those positions and tries to make them front and center and say that if you support them, you don't support the Jewish community or you don't support Israel. So have you met with these women?
Well, the Jewish Democratic Council of America is, as I said, the mission is to support Democrats that support the Jewish community's interests, our values. These two women do not, on Israel in particular.
Hold on, Ron.
Okay.
They have issues with Israel. That you just said Jewish people and their interests. That's sort of lumping them all into one group, isn't it?
No. What
the president wants people to believe that they're anti-Semitic.
Well, I can't tell you whether anti-Semitic. I certainly don't like the comments they've made and disagree with them, and our organization takes the same position. Now, they may, on a number of domestic issues, be on the same page on the environment or on education and healthcare, and that's fine. But on Israel, which is an important issue to this organization and to the Jewish community, they're in the wrong place.
Was Netanyahu in the wrong place by banning them from going to Israel?
I think the Prime Minister created a platform for them, along with the President, that the President wanted, because he does want to create this face of the Democratic Party, which is totally false. But I think what he was trying to do, Netanyahu, for his own political purposes in his own elections, is try to side up with Trump. Trump probably asked him to do this. He did it. I think it was a mistake for the Israeli government to do that. I think the United States is a key ally. All of our members of Congress should have the right to go over there and fact-find for themselves. My guess is if they went over there, they'd probably see a lot of really good things. They may not agree with them ultimately, but almost all Democrats, with the exception of a handful, are very supportive of Israel for all the right reasons.
Ron, good to talk to you. Thank you for joining us. Former Representative Ron Klein of Florida is the chair of the Jewish Democratic Council of America.
Next.